In this video, I'm going to be making a custom ordered fractal wood burned wall art sign out of curly maple. And in this video, I'm going to be going over some of the common fractal wood burning issues that I run into a lot and that I've gotten a lot of questions on. But first, I'm just getting this piece all squared up and ready for the burn. So this piece of maple was slightly cupped. Because it's going to be a wall art piece, I wasn't super worried about it, so I just went ahead with it anyways. So here I'm just marking out on the sign where the engraving is going to go. My client wanted their company name right in the middle of the sign, so I'm just marking that out on the curly maple. And then I'm going to take a scrap piece of plywood to just do a test engraving on. The laser engraver I have is called an O-Tour. It's just a diode laser. It's really cheap and easy to use. And I actually spelled Atlanta wrong on here. I spelled it Atlanta. This wasn't a big deal at all because I was just doing it on a scrap piece of plywood. I just went back and fixed the spelling before I took a picture and sent this to the client. So here I'm sanding the piece to 80 grit, which is what I normally do before I do a fractal wood burn. And this piece was kind of different because I didn't surface it. The surface wasn't fresh. So there was like, this wood had so many curls in it from the curly maple. So I think this surface was too rough to start with. Normally when I run it through my planer, it'll come out pretty smooth and the 80 grit will kind of rough it up a little bit, which I feel like makes it burn better. But this piece was pretty rough before I did the burn, and that caused some problems that you guys will see in a minute. And I'll always soak the entire piece in baking soda water, 2 to 3 coats. If you are interested in trying fractal wood burning, I do have a fractal wood burning safety video on my channel. I'll leave a link to that in the top right corner. Just kind of go over like how I do my fractal burns and the safest way to do them. And the most important thing is the dead man switch. And you could see me hooking that up here. And once I have the machine plugged in, I put my rubber gloves on and they don't come off until I'm done. So here I'm just using the markings that I made in the curly maple for where the engraving is going to go to place these screws. And I'm just using those as markings to where I don't want to go past those marks. So I could actually hook a cable right up to it and it'll conduct through the screw into the wood. Or at least it should. And that's about the best burn I got in the 2 hours I was outside trying to burn this piece. This happens pretty often, where I'll do everything like I normally do, sand the piece to 80 grit, soak it a couple of times with baking soda water and hook up the leads, and for whatever reason it just won't burn. So whenever this happens, there's a few things I try. Usually if a piece isn't burning, it means the wood is either too soaked or not wet enough. So I did another coat on this piece and I left it outside for an hour for it to dry, and I tried it like that, and then I just tried misting it with water. Those are all things that usually end up working. One other thing you could try if you have the same problem is just putting a fan on the piece. I feel like a lot of times I'll get deeper burns when I do that too. But yeah, this was a really bad one. I thought this would be good to leave in the video for you guys if you've tried this before and you've had the same issue. These are things that I do to try to fix it. So what I decided the problem was is that since I didn't surface the piece, that might be why. For whatever reason, that wood, without it being fresh, it wasn't burning. So I got my router sled here. I actually just made this thing, so it was a perfect excuse to put this thing to use. So the linear rails are connected to a sheet of acrylic. I love this setup that I made. So I'll leave the links to everything that I bought on Amazon if you guys are interested in building this same setup. They sell these for like $500 to $1,000 online. I mean, I think I was like $200 total in on this build, and it works really awesome. I hooked up dust collection to it too. This is without the brushes on the side, so the dust collection's not as good, but I hook up the brushes after this cut. I just want to leave them off for this so you guys could see what it's doing. So you'll see once I have the brushes hooked up after this, I mean, there's almost no dust left over. So after I surfaced both sides, I sanded it back down to 80 grit and then went back outside to burn it. And you can see how much better it works now. So after the burn, I take this piece inside. I actually didn't show it here, but I'll leave the piece laying flat, and I'll put weight on it and leave it for a day to dry. And then I came in with 120 grit, sanded the whole piece down. I'll get the ashes out of the burns with a nylon wheel, and then after that I'll sand it to 150 grit, and then I'll tape the whole thing off, epoxy it, and then after I epoxy it, I won't sand it any lower than 180 grit. I'll just do a final sanding of 180 grit, and then I'll put the finish on. The finish that I'm using is called Rubio Monocoat. If you've watched woodworking videos on YouTube before, I'm sure you've seen this product. But it's super easy to use and it looks great. And then here I'm just marking the center of the back of the sign to add a wall hanger for it. I've used them a lot before, they work great. And then put the wall hanger on, make sure it fits good, and then I did erase those pencil marks. And this is the piece all finished up. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys enjoyed watching this video, it would help my channel out a lot if you just subscribed and liked this video and leave a comment on what you think of this piece. And I have a bunch more fractal wood burning videos if you guys want to check those out. Thank you.